UI UX design is one of the hardest things to do as a web developer. So the problem is that most tutorials today show you how they build like incredible minimalistic modern websites, but they don't show you the actual process and how they come up with those ideas. So in today's video, I've just created a new Figma file. As you can see, it's still untitled, and we're going to be creating a landing page, but this is unedited, unplanned. We're going to be focusing on how we can get the ideas of layouts. We're going to be looking into how we can get inspiration, and we're going to be building the landing page from scratch. So yeah, let's start. First thing, let's give it like, for example, let's say that this website belongs to an agency. So for example, let's say it's a freelance agency, right? So it connects clients with freelancers. So let's just say freelance uh, agency, sorry, agency landing page, landing page. So page one, I would like to rename it to design. And we're not going to be going into mockups, user research, all of that stuff. Just this is not a complete UI UX design course. It's just something to help you get the ideas for interesting layouts, get into uh, to make you a better designer, basically. So let's start. The first thing we want to do is we want to start from a desktop design, okay? So I'm just gonna create a desktop frame. This is a 1440 by 1024 pixels desktop layout here. So here, the reason we start from a desktop is we want to put all the complexities, all the content in. Then on mobile, we just want to simplify it. So that's the reason. So let's name it landing page. Landing page, desktop, right? Desktop. This is some convention I like to use where I describe the actual layer and I say, I tell like I give a reminder for myself for what type of screen this is. So after two dashes, I say desktop or mobile. So let's start. The first thing always we start is the nav. So I like to go from a nav to a hero section to whatever sections come after that. So we're going to be starting from the navbar. Okay, so the navbar is responsible to give you information about your website. What I mean by that is it has an identity section, which is your logo and your name. It has a links or navigation section where all your links to primary links, like where do people, when they visit your website, where do they want to go? So those links, the primary links are here. And finally, we have a call to action section. So this is maybe a sign up or login button. This is just pushing your visitors of the website to do some action that the website was meant to accomplish. So we're going to be looking into how we can create these three sections, and we're going to be I'm going to make it simple. I'm not going to create a very complicated design. Just a simple design that is meant to give you like the basic principles. So if you want to create your own. So before that, let's actually deal with the color, right? So the background color. Now, a good principle is you don't want your background color to be highly saturated. So these colors are not good. Even here, Like if you don't know what you're doing, this is a bad place. Like you can make it work, but this is a bad place. So we're gonna be keeping it simple, and we're gonna be going pure white. And here we're gonna add this white to our variables so we can reuse it. So I'm gonna say white and 900. 900 here just means that this is uh, the lightest white. Okay, so it's just a description of the brightness. So we don't give it a description, we just say create style, and now we are using whites for our background. Okay, so let's start. We need the identity section, the first part you see in most websites today. So the identity section is important so that we can tell our users where they are actually. So the users need to know which website they're on. This is good for conversion, uh, for brand recognition, and many other stuff. So how do we create this? It has basically two sections, a logo and a name. So these are the two sections for your identity section of your navbar. So let's just create a simple logo. Since this is not a logo designing course, uh, I'm just gonna create a very simple logo. I'm just gonna create two circles. I'm gonna select them. I'm gonna make them full black. And I'm gonna choose this one. Give it a stroke white and make the stroke a little bigger. So let's just say this is our logo. So it doesn't really describe our brand or anything. It's just to give us a starting point, a simple logo. Let's just group them uh, and rename it to logo. Now again, I want to come here and change this black and make it black 100, 100 being the darkness, right? So if we say 900 is the lightest, the 100 is the darkest. So create variable, and we want to select this white here and say uh, and make it our primary color for white. Okay, now we have our logo. Great. So actually, I want to flatten it, and you know what? Let's just keep it the way it went. So we have our logo, and you can just visualize how your website's going to go when you look at it like this. So this is the logo, and it's the starting point for your design. So everything is going to build up from here. Uh, After your logo, even after as I'm watching the logo, I get some ideas. Okay, so one idea comes on top of the other. I get the idea now that I want my website here to be a monochrome. What I mean by that is it will not have any colors. It will be black and white. Okay, so if I was building like for a brand, they might have colors. If I was building for an actual, if I was actually building an agency, I would probably use green. Okay, green because it is related to money. It is related to like uh, freelancing is a way of earning, right? So it's related to that. So actually, instead of pure black and white monochrome, we can use our colored monochrome. What that means is basically you have one main color. Okay, we have one main color and only black and white. So this is what the actual uh, way I'm going over this. Okay, let's start. Let's continue. Let's actually create. Let's give our agency a name. So let's say client finder. Okay, let's just make it a little smaller, like maybe 16 pixels. Let's adjust this line height. So this is our name. So you can see that this is a font called Jaro. I will not be using this. I'm gonna be using Inter. Inter is my favorite font. Okay, it's the cleanest font. It focuses on minimalism, and if you are new to web design or UI UX design, I can't recommend Inter enough. So I'm using Inter here. I'm gonna be using the semi-bold variation for the logo for the identity section, and let's bring it here. So our logo, I think, in relation to the name, is a bit big, so we can just reduce its size. Let's just make it 32 pixels, and I think that's good proportionality. So Client Fighter, not the best, not the most creative name, but it works for our purpose. Okay, so now let's just select this and let's change this to our main black. Let's just Shift A to also layout it. So 8 pixel gap, center line, and we're gonna rename this identity. Okay, so as I'm looking at it here, I'm really liking this. So it's really striking the monochrome feel and it's modern minimalism. So I'm really liking this so far. So next, we would like to go to the second part, as we said earlier, which is the links section. So the link section, for example, home, about, projects, products, portfolio, if you're making a portfolio. So these are the parts, right? So which users will like to go to first. So we're going to be using some links here, like we're going to be connecting some links and putting them in the center. So first of all, let's write out our links. The first link will be uh, let's go with home, and I'm going to reduce its size to 14 pixels and make it regular font weight. So this is our home. It's very basic, and we don't really want more now. So now home, about, talent, us in most freelance websites, uh, portfolio maybe, or showcase, let's say showcase, and contact. So let's say these five are the primary links that we want to use for as our primary navigation for our websites. Okay, so as you can see, they all have the same style, which is incorrect actually. This is inaccurate. The reason for that is that we would like to give the user an indicator on which link is actually active. So we think that this is our landing page here, as our landing page, it would be our home. So the home should have a different style from these other links. So most of the time we can go here and say extra bold, semi-bold, and it will give us some disparity, but I would like to do another thing. Instead, I would like to choose all of these other links, the inactive links, and I would go to fill and I would give them a gray. This such a grayish color, and so you can see it's like in the center of the spectrum. So gray. It's not in the center. It's like let's say it's in the region. If this is the center is 500, maybe this is 400. Okay. So yeah. So let's just make it like this, and directly you can see that there is a big disparity here. The user can identify that they're on the home page currently, since the home page has a different style, a more standout style than the others. Let's just select them all, Shift A again, framing them into an auto layout, and let's say links. Okay, we don't need to say nav links because we're gonna wrap everything here inside a nav bar, so it will be obvious. And again, let's go here and apply our variables. Here, black. Actually, it seems like this is a color style. Mhm. Instead of that, we would like to say that here, instead of color style, let's say white 100 as a variable. Okay, yeah. So now we want to change this white to this variable. So Figma has some inconsistencies, but anyway. So again, we uh, frame them. Then we need some space between them. So you don't want the links to stick too close together that they feel cluttered, but you don't want to stick them far apart that they feel unconnected. So I think a good size here is about 48 pixels, maybe a bit lower, 40 pixels. I think 40 pixels is a nice way to go. So here, 40 pixel difference. We can even go lower, I think. 32, maybe 36, maybe 32. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough. 32 pixels here. So as you design more, you're gonna get an eye for it. 36 looks good. You're gonna get an eye for like how far would they be so that they have optimal spacing. You're gonna learn this with time as you do more. So doing more projects is actually the best advice I can give you to be better, quicker. So here we have the links, right? The nav links. So let's just put them there and work on the other part. The next part being the CTA or the call to action. Now here I'm gonna have um, one CTA on the navbar, and this will be find. Let's say actually connect. Okay, so if we are working with a freelance agency, our main goal would be to find clients, right? So something like that would directly resonate with the clients to get them connected with a freelancer. So we can say connect with freelancers, but this will be too long and it will not catch on. So this is one part of UI UX design is copywriting. You need to write good copy so that your your website, your agency could have as much clients and as higher conversion. Okay, so here I think a good copy here would be find talent. So when you say talent, uh, the client assumes that there is a professional service to be given, right? So let's say find talent and 16 pixels since we want this to get as much attention as possible. So from all the components we have talked about, this is the most important part, the call to action. Now we have discussed on giving its a color, like we have discussed about a greenish color. So if we're gonna apply that, this is the best place to apply it. But also, I'm thinking as I'm building the design again. We've spoken about how one aspect of your design should layer on top of the other, giving you inspiration as you develop your design. I've gotten the idea to use the green color not as primary third color, but as an accent. What an accent is basically a pop of color or icon or something that just splashes somewhere in your project. So it's not consistently shown here as the black and white and gray, but it occasionally makes an appearance to make your design more vibrant. So I'm going to use this as an action, meaning this will be black and white too. So let's just frame this and say call to action, CTA in short. And the fill would be again black since we're on a white background, and the text would be white. Okay, can we move this? It's okay. So now this is our button, but we don't want it like that. So let's just make some adjustments first. Zero gap since there is no adjacent elements. Padding on the side about 32 maybe, and from the top and bottom 16. I think that looks good. And the corner radius, I'm gonna give it 8 pixels, which is very standard. Uh, I think this works good, but if you look at it in relation though, I think it's just a bit bigger. So maybe we can decrease it to 12 and this to 28. Yeah, I think this looks great. I think this looks great, or maybe we could just 16 here. Okay, this looks fine. So now we have our CTA. So the reason I'm not using like sign up, sign in is because there is nothing to sign into this. We are not providing an application, a SaaS product, but rather an agency, right? So you want to find clients. That's the primary goal. Okay, so we are at this stage where all our individual components of the navbar are complete. So we want to move on to the on the second part, which is actually composing them into a structured navbar. So there are a couple of ways we can do that. First, there is this way of just separating them. I'm just going to duplicate this here. Another way is your links and your your CTA becomes together, closer together. And another way is that your logo, your identity, and your navbar, nav links work together. So obviously, as I'm looking at it here, I don't like this. So this doesn't work due to the similarity in text. So let's just remove that. So it's pretty much in between these two, right? So it's in between centered links and CTA with links. So again, this is another principle that you need to just duplicate your design, just make changes and see what works and what doesn't. So that's how you get inspiration. So because the human eye is trained to find uh, things that look pleasant. So exactly when you look at it, you will see if it works or if it doesn't. So as I'm looking at here, I really like the first one, so I'm gonna delete this. So it's a matter of objectiveness. Um, so the third one, right, when we did like this, it doesn't work. This is objectively bad because this here, the client finder name and the text, especially the home, they mix up and they don't give enough disparity. So I like when it's center aligned. So the easiest way to do it is to just select them all, Shift A to give them an auto layout, give it the name navbar, and give it the spacing of auto. Auto means as much of a space as can get. So how wide should the navbar be? Since this just it depends on how wide it is, the spacing. Very simple. What I like to do is go to layout grid columns. Here we want to give it either 12 or 16. I think 12 works fine here. Maybe 16 could work fine too, but I'm not sure here. It's just I think we can go for 16 with on the navbar, and maybe we can decrease it for the other sections. So let's go with 16 for now. So 16 means there's 16 columns here, right? You can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 16. So you can select the end of the first column here and the start of the last column here, and this will be our maximum width for our navbar. This so is center aligned obviously, and we want to align it to the top. So one thing here is that this is not right. This is not right because it is squished to the top. You can see here there is no spacing, there is no white space between the top of our layer and the navbar. So the simplest way to fix it is to give our navbar a padding. Let's give it 24 on the top and bottom. And as you see here, maybe we can decrease it. Maybe we can go 16. 16 looks fine, but let's go 20 in between. 20 looks great. So this is our navbar. Okay, basically we are done. We can just collapse everything and speak a bit about it. So this is our navbar, identity, links, CTA. So if you navbars obviously can have more, like it could have banners and whatnot, but the main idea here is to teach you how minimal design works, how you can find ideas, how you can find inspiration of your own design, how you can build on top of simple things to make your design consistent and good to look at. So this was the first episode of this new series where we are creating a landing page design. Uh, Tell me all your suggestions in the comments. Uh, I would like to hear it. I would like to also. I'm thinking of actually showing you how to build this with code. So if that's something you're interested in, just comment it down below. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you get something from today's video. And until the next time, goodbye.